on, man. I need some more energy, man. I'm gonna feel that for y'all. How y'all doing tonight? I'm feeling that a little bit more. So, as you all know, first of all, I want to say thank you for coming out here tonight because this is a very, in my opinion, I think it's a very important discussion that we're having because hip hop not only is a culture, but it also goes into a subculture. It's something that all of us are touched by each and every day. Like I said, it was a form of expression. Started out, in the streets by young African Americans and Latinos, and it has really taken off to the point where now it is a national, it is a worldwide thing. So everybody is touched by hip hop in some form or fashion. Whether or not you're a true fan of it, whether you like to listen to it casually, whether you're a go hard, it doesn't matter. Hip hop has affected you in some form or fashion to the point where it brought you here tonight. So for that, let's give hip hop a hand right now. I want to introduce myself. I'm Troy Lazaro. I'm the Assistant Director of Multicultural Recruitment here at UMass Lowell. EK had asked me to host this, and I was very honored to do so. A little bit about my background outside of work. I'm originally from Bridgeport, Connecticut. I don't know if you guys know where that's at. Not too far away from New York, right on the borderline there. Grew up there. Hip hop had always been a part of my life since I was a child. From the early days of breakdancing in the early 80s, we're talking about 1982, 1983, 1984. Those types of days, DJing, being in the streets, Run DMC, all that type of stuff is what affected me to the point where I am today. I was a DJ starting at the age of like about 11 years old. I've had a couple of different hip hop albums as far as local, nothing major. I was a spoken word artist. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the New Eurekan in New York. I went out there in a slam competition. So hip hop has affected me positively in a major way. I also really got my start in rapping really in the church, to be honest with you, as a Christian rapper, and continue to grow that with a positive message even outside of the church as well. So as you can see, hip hop has touched my life in many different ways, and once again it was an honor for you to ask me to do this. So I appreciate it. So without further ado, I really want to get into the hip hop panel today. I really want to hear what you guys have to say. I want you guys to give the panelists a hand up here. I would like if the panelists would introduce themselves, starting from H on.
How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Henrique. Most of y'all know me as Hank. I am a junior here at UMass Lowell, English major, focused on creative writing. I'm also a hip hop artist myself. I go by the name Hank, straight to the point, original. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sophia Laura. I'm a freshman here at UMass Lowell, and I'm undeclared, unfortunately. I'm an R&B singer. Not much more to that.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Matt Walter. I'm a senior here at UMass Lowell, sociology major. Been a hip hop artist now for 10 years. I go by Matthew Mills. My CD's in the back, my first solo mixtape. Make sure y'all grab that. But yeah, man, hip hop has been a big part of my life, so happy to be here.
How you guys doing? My name is Baka Nora. I'm a senior here at the university. I'm a chemical engineering major. Pretty much just a hip hop enthusiast. Hip hop has influenced a lot of aspects of my life, so I'm pretty excited to be here.
Hello everybody, my name is Sam. I go by the name Sammy Prez. I'm a junior here at the university, marketing major, and I'm just a fan of hip hop, striving to keep real hip hop alive. That's it.
Appreciate it.
How's everybody doing? My name is EK School Latife. I'm one of the panelist members as well. Junior here studying management information systems. Really just wanted to thank you guys for coming out tonight. This is a hip hop discussion panel. I feel like it's relevant for everybody to come out and kind of hear what everyone has to say. Especially for you guys, the audience members, kind of give you a chance to speak on some of your perspectives, your viewpoints, and some of the experiences that you came across in hip hop and see how it affected you guys.
How everybody doing? My name's Ahmad. I'm an
English major, senior. I go by the name of First Draft. I've pretty much been rapping for over 10 years too, and hip hop is pretty much like, I feel like it's just like a part of my life. And I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight, taking time out of your schedule, really appreciate it. Thank the panel members again for taking time out of their schedule to come in, express their viewpoints on hip hop. And we just want to keep this, open floor and just free expression, for everyone to be on equal ground. So let's get it started.
All right, thank you. My hand. So the first thing that you want to start, let's start at the beginning. So, and I'm not necessarily just talking about the beginnings of hip hop, but I'm talking about the beginnings of hip hop for you. I'm going to start with the background of the beginnings of it, as far as the root aspect of it, knowing that hip hop as itself is a culture, and it's made up of about 4 major things. Does anybody know what those 4 major things of hip hop are?
Breaking, DJing, rapping, and graffiti, street art.
All right. Give me a hand for that. Those are the 4 major elements of hip hop. And as time has gone along, you've seen a lot of evolution in those things. Some things have been omitted, some things have been brought back. So, that's kind of where, we are at right now. But those are the 4 major things. I want to open it up to the panel. The first question I want to open up to the panel is, when did hip hop start for you? When did it start for you? We'll start.
Well, hip hop for me started probably, my first knowledge of it was my uncle had just come here in like 1992 or something from Guinea, and he was about 18 years old. And everybody knows like pretty much how Lowell is as far as like, even back in like the early 90s, there was a lot of like gangs that were like really heavy out here, especially like a lot of the Asian gangs. In fact, my uncle was actually part of one of the Asian gangs. It was a Crip, and a lot of the music that he listened to was a lot of West Coast influenced music, and that was especially around the time when Dr. Dre dropped the Chronic. And I just remember like, Nothing But a G Thing. The video came out, and I thought like, Snoop Dogg was just like the freshest dude out there. So I think that's like my first memory of hip hop.
All right, for me, hip hop probably really kicked off for me maybe around the late 90s. When I was in Chicago, actually one of my older cousins, he was really into the whole hip hop thing. I had just came over here, just got a little used to the lifestyle and everything like that. So actually my first little glimpse of hip hop, I guess I had was, I don't know if everybody remembers the Tootsie Roll, the dance. That was my first really encounter I had with hip hop music. And then from then on, I just loved listening to the music. I would always memorize the rhymes and everything like that. And the first song the first hip hop song that I got down to memorize was Nas Is Like. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Nas is like. So that's, I heard the song, and I for some reason I just really liked it. I wrote the lyrics down and everything and just memorized it. And then from then on, I was like, well, maybe I should start writing my own songs. And then I used to write little by little. And then 5, 6, 7 years later, I started rapping here and there, and here I am now. So it's had a little impact on me as well.
I probably don't, I'm not even close to all these people. When hip hop started for me, it was probably 2002 when I came from Brazil, and it was Eminem. So like all my cousins used to listen to Eminem all day, Dr. Dre all day, and I probably remember The Real Slim Shady. It's probably the first time I can remember, and that's my favorite rapper to this day. Like probably every album I've ever had came from him.
Hip hop for me, my brother was 42 now. He rapped. And, I just remember like elementary school, my brother used to pick me up. He used to just have the newest tapes of every artist coming out, man. And I remember the biggest one that really put me on was Dr. Dre. And hearing Dre, that's the first time I was like, yo, that dude is a genius. Like, this dude is above and beyond hip hop. And ever since then, man, I was hungry. I looked up every single artist. I had every single tape. And I remember when I really started considering thinking about myself as an artist, Bone Thugs and Harmony actually was the group that put me on, man, to map. So I want to say, yeah, my brother, man, my brother really put me on to that.
I would say that my first encounter with hip hop was pretty much brought to me by my brother, probably around mid to late 90s. And I was mostly listening to a lot of East Coast stuff back then. And I remember when I heard the Reasonable Doubt album by Jay-Z, that was when I really started listening to hip hop most, because I really fell in love with the double entendres and the multi-syllable rhyming. And I just looked at it more as an art rather than just people just putting the music on the record. Like, if you really go into that album, it's really like intricate the way he puts like different rhymes together and like his concepts of how like really his whole verses are like a simile. So I really just fell in love with it from there, as far as like the artistic aspect of hip hop from a rhyming perspective, and pretty much my first encounter with hip hop.
Yeah, I first fell in love with hip hop when I watched the Wu-Tang Clan Triumph video. That was back in '97. You know, just to witness 9 guys, you know what I mean, just showcasing so much skill and talent is what caught my attention, and from there the rest was history.
My first encounter with hip hop was when I was like an infant, so to speak. Grew up listening to a lot of music my parents used to play around the house, birthday parties, get-togethers, a lot of music like Crisscross, Naughty by Nature. And those are some of like the early influences that kind of sparked my interest. And then it wasn't until really when I was in 8th grade where a good friend of mine at the time put me onto this rapper named Jadakiss. You know, there was a song called By Your Side, and I felt like the song just resonated with me a lot. And then from there, that's when I really started to take it really seriously as far as going in depth with like, you know, kind of the stuff that he was talking about, his life experiences, and how some of it kind of related to me, certain aspects. Not everything, but certain aspects was able to relate to me. So those kind of things started me.
Y'all make me feel old, man. Some of y'all was talking about Jay-Z was your first influence and all that other stuff, man. I'm like, what? I was like about to graduate high school when all that stuff was happening. For me, you know, this is my cousin Julie, he's a DJ as well. For both of us, we grew up and our parents were playing music that led into the hip hop culture. Like, it started out with, you know, we're talking about, you know, R&B singers like, you know, Shaka Khan. We're talking about, you know, Sugar Hill Gang. That's what I grew up on from the beginning, and going all the way up to the Funky 4+1. We're talking early 80s music. That's kind of what I grew up on. So it's amazing to see how, you know, how time has gone on and who are the influences of each generation. So that's pretty cool. So that's nice. Does anybody have a quick, you know, story of when hip hop touched them out there in the crowd? Anybody want to share?
Yeah, but for me, it's like Kung Fu Panda, Grandmaster Flash, 1982. I mean, my brother used to be a break dancer and shit, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I was born 1987, but back then, like, every time my mom whooping us, so she always listened to the Crisscross shit, you know what I mean? Jump, make us doing stupid shit. That makes sense? That's me.
Yeah. So, okay, so I don't feel that old. I was born in 81, so like it was all good. Anybody else a quick story?
I don't want the mic.
All right, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm, you know, NWA, Public Enemy, for me, and I'm kind of a left you know, for me, growing up in Methuen, this is like what I had in the early 80s, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, just all of those huge influences, especially like Public Enemy and, you know, Grandmaster Flash, and like you said, they paved the way for, you know, all those late 70s singers and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for
So now you don't have to feel so old.
No, I don't feel old now. I still got company.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was kind of a funny story because it actually started in middle school, and I needed to go to a place called A.J. Wright to get new jeans. And when I got the jeans, they're from a brand called Machiavelli, which was, it was the brand that Tupac's mother started. And that was the first time I ever heard of Tupac. So I started looking him up, and to recognize the art that he had in his lyrics. Like the first song I got, he actually did a remix of Phil Collins' song "In the Air." Staring at my rear view, I was like, this isn't just your stereotypical, rap song. This is a story. Like he is putting his emotions on display in such a way that it was really beautiful.
Nice, thank you. We're definitely going to get a little bit more into those two heavy hitters, Tupac, Biggie, a few guys like that. But thank you for sharing that. I want to still talk a little bit about the early days of hip hop. What does hip hop and its elements mean to you, and why is it your passion? Now remember, we talked about the elements being breakdancing, graffiti, DJing, and MCing. I'm not going to say rapping, because MCing means master of ceremonies. Because when you would have your MC start a party, it was a DJ and it was the MC. And a party back then was basically off of those two. The DJ would take two records and he would flip them back and forth. It'd be almost the same record the whole night. And that MC would be spitting, and these people would be dancing like it was non-stop. So, with that being said, all those early elements of hip hop, what one stands out closest to you, and how does it affect your passion?
I think for me, it's kind of like, it just affects like my whole lifestyle. Pretty much, like the way that you talk, the way that you dress, pretty much even like your tasting on certain different things. I think it just all really comes from hip hop. And as far as like my early influences are concerned, like I remember back in the day, like I couldn't wear hats back in the day because like when I was young, I had like a big old melon head. So like every time like would wear a hat or something, like my mom was like, take it off. Like, nah man, like don't do that. So I remember like I have this like old picture of me with that big old melon head with like a flat top, and I had like, my uncle had bought me like this all like jeans outfit. I think I actually have it on Facebook, matter of fact. I was like 4 years old, cheesing in front of the camera, and like, I don't know, I looked like a little Snoop Dogg or something like that. So, I don't know, I think hip hop just influenced like everything about like my life and how I view the world, because listening to a lot of these artists growing up, like when Jay-Z would say something, not that you like follow everything that he did, but you kind of understood where he was coming from, based on some of the things he would say.
Now, was there any portion in the four elements that stood out to you most? Was it MCing, breakdancing, graffiti, DJing?
Well, MCing stuck with me the most just because I started rapping when I was 11 years old, and I started because the teacher had given like a homework assignment. You know how he had to like memorize like spelling words and stuff. So I told the teacher that, okay, I can do one better for you. I can just like make a rap for you. So I made like a rap. It's terrible. I don't remember it, so I'm not going to recite it. But pretty much it just stuck out. MCing stuck out to me the most because like I think like all the MCs here, Hank, you can contest to it that when you're on stage, it's almost like you take on almost like a different persona. It's like, you almost become almost like a superhuman almost. And it's like to have that power and to have like the power with words, like my words could affect somebody. I think that's what drew me to MCing the most.
Nice.
All right, for me, believe it or not, actually breakdancing. I actually started dancing before I started rapping. So, I still do here and there. But yeah, it was mainly, breakdancing actually what stood out to me more because, like, you know, I was that I ever had. And from then on, which was what, 2009, I forget, 2001, right? Yeah, so back in 2001 was when I really started rapping and getting to the whole MCing part of it. But dancing was what hit me first.
To me, it was probably dancing too. Not because I dance, but because all my friends back in Framingham, they like a lot of them crump or break dance. So I would be the one to want to make a video or go with them just to see it because I like the hype. So I'd always follow them there. And my brother used to sing for some like random rappers out there too. It was kind of cool.
Kind of similar to Hank, man. I got into breakdancing first, man. I started breaking in 4th grade, took that all the way up until probably my freshman year in high school. And I don't know about y'all, if y'all ever been to Roller Kingdom, man. And man, we used to be on that floor, man, just shutting it down. And it was cool, cause you know, that's when I really was like, they was mixing hip hop with like, you know, some house trance music. And I was like, word, this is really cool. And what really turned me on to MCing in 6th grade, I was part of this project, gearing up for college, and we the song we did, it just hit me like right there. I'm like, stop, drop, gearing up for college, don't stop, yo. And I remember that we performed it at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, and I swear I was DMX, man. I had the crowd like going crazy, and I was like, yo, this is me for life, man. This is me for life. And me and this girl, a good friend of mine still, man, we just started writing little rhymes down, and you know, I never stopped since. So those are the two things that really hit me. And it's funny, I don't do graffiti at all, but I'm always doodling, and everybody's like, Matt, like, yo, that's sick, do something with it. But it's not, you know, it just shows to me like how the culture is just affecting me when, like, you know, all the time, subconsciously. I don't even know it, you know what I mean? So definitely, but breaking and MCing was definitely my passions growing up.
I would say the element of hip hop that affected me first and the most growing up was definitely rapping, and that pretty much came from my older brother. He put me on to like a lot of rap and stuff, and he also would write himself, and from there, like, I would just listen to music, and I really just liked the culture so much as far as like the rapping aspect, because you know, when you hear a good song, it can just put you in a completely new mood, you know what I'm saying? It like, similar to what Ahmad was saying earlier, like, the way you just affect people when you're up there doing your thing, and that really touched me. I think that's a really beautiful thing as far as how a good song can just change your mood. You could be in a bad day, you hear that one song, you feeling a lot better, or a lot of songs just speak to you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might not know what to do, you hear a song, and then you're just like, whoa, that kind of pertains to this situation, and it just clarifies things. So I just think it's just a really cool thing, and so I would definitely say rapping definitely was a major influence.
Yeah, I would say MCing was a major influence for me. I mean, following guys like Nas, Raekwon, you know what I mean, who else? Jay-Z. Just the way they told stories, you know what I mean, and everything else is what led me to become a hip-hop artist, you know what I mean? And that's what allowed me to fall in love with it. So that's pretty much it.
I love to dance. For those that don't know, you know, I love to dance a lot. You know, break dancing was probably the biggest influence because ever since I was growing up, you know, that's all I used to do around the house, you know, just dance. You know, whatever song it was, if it clicked with me, if it connected with me, you know, I just wanted to just express it through just you know, through a rhythm form. You know, just you know, I used to be influenced by like Michael Jackson a lot. You know, his moonwalks, you know, all of his like his crazy moves, popping and walking. I used to do that a lot growing up. Even like in elementary school, you know, after school program I used to go to, they gave like a lot of, you know, kids a chance to like kind of do like, you know, what was that? You know, I would say, I don't know, say like open, you know, spoken words, so to speak. You know, just kind of get yourself out there. You know, just express yourself in certain avenues like, you know, spoken word, dancing, whatever have you. And for me, you know, I was fortunate enough to like grow up and be able to be part of that after school program that allowed me to like dance. because, you know, it's one of the biggest things I like to do growing up, just dance a lot, and make sure that whatever I was feeling sad one day, you know, I got a chance to kind of just express it, whatever have you. And, you know, MCing the same thing. You know, I listen to a lot of Jadakiss, Styles P, Jay-Z, Nas, B.I.G., a little bit of Tupac too. You know, those type of rap guys, you know, influenced me a lot as far as like the type of stuff that they spoke about, and you know, kind of the things that I went through, you know, growing up. You know, they was able to kind of provide like that, you know, it's okay to be alright type of thing, you know, through their music. And it just resonated with me.
Nice. So I'm gonna open up the floor to you guys. What element of hip hop stuck out to you first? Maybe stuck out to you once you met hip hop, whether it be back then or right now.
Thank you. My name is Oscar, and back when I came from Dominican Republic, I was about 8 years old, and I didn't really know the language. I didn't know much of hip hop, but my father was a DJ. He was here before me, and he used to play a lot of albums. And one of them that he played was Bone Thugs and Harmony. And Meet Me at the Crossroad. That was just a song that I didn't really understand all the lyrics to it, but I felt the passion for it. So that's what got me introduced into it. Then I asked him, and then he explained what it was, and that's how I got into it.
My name is Ricky. I would have to say it was breakdancing. Like Oscar, I'm from Dominican Republic, so growing up there, my cousins they were big into breakdancing. The breakdancing community was just huge over there. So just seeing how they can like pinpoint different elements of the music through their dance, like not necessarily the beat, some of them would dance along to the lyrics or a bass line in the song, just break. It's just, you know what I mean? It made me want to like do that. I wanted to express myself like that. So when I came here, I would go back to the yard in summer, and my cousin would like teach me bits and pieces, you know what I mean? So that was my thing.
I'm Tech Mike. I guess what really started off for me was DJing. I had this one uncle. He would just scratch records all the time, and then when they had like house parties, you know, we wasn't allowed. The little kids wasn't allowed to really go. But, you know, we broke the rules, and that's just what we did. And you know, you would just see the type of power that he had over the scratch. He was the one who controlled the music, you know. And then you'd have people, you know, some of the older cats there freestyle, you know, and the type of energy that they delivered to the crowd and just everyone around. You know, I felt that. I didn't know what it was about, but I felt it. And I didn't know it was going to be a part of my life until a little later, but that's what introduced me to hip hop. It was this DJing thing. All these sounds that I never heard before just stuck out.
I would say what stuck out to me was the emceeing, simply because I don't know, it was kind of like the news for me. I never really liked watching the news at all. I hate the news because it's so negative, and it never really, it tells you what's going on, but it never really tells you why or anything. It just makes people look crazy. And I like rap because it says, you know, we're going through this and this is why and this is how we need to change it and everything like that. And actually, like, Pac is my favorite rapper for that because, you know, he was very, like, about educating people. You know, in the history books, we only get, like, a page and a half, you know, so that's why I like rap, because it kind of, like, finishes the book.
All right. I like that. I want to explore that a little. I like what she said about hip hop and the MCing portion being like the news. For the most part, in the hood and in the downtrodden areas, in the inner city areas, it was the news. It was the news. It let you know what was happening on certain corners. It let you know how a certain person, whether it be in your family or a certain person's other story, was being broadcasted by the words of the MC, or the emotions of the feeling of the city at the time were being brought through by the DJ and the beats that he played and the scratches that he cut. So that's awesome. I really like what you said about hip hop being and MCing being kind of like a newscast for you, because it really was. It was a newscast for the hood.
I mean, to add up what Bree said, Slick Rick. There we go, again, storyteller.
Yes. There's one more?
I started tagging. That was my first encounter. I was that kid in kindergarten, the only one who knew how to do bubble letters. So all the kids used to ask me to write their name. And then it turned into like a bad addiction. I used to write. I had a little alias. I used to write it everywhere in the house. My mom used to get mad. I used to steal Sharpies from the school. I used to do stuff I wasn't supposed to do. It's just because I wanted it to like, go bigger and just put my name out there. And that's how it was for me, but my first encounter was through graffiti.
That's awesome. Give me a hand for that. Give me a hand for everybody. It's amazing how we all come from different backgrounds, had different, aspects of things, with, the Caribbean and different countries even having a take on hip hop at that time, and how even back then it was permeating different cultures and areas. It's kind of like hip hop is like a puzzle piece. It connects us all with different pieces that it has out of those four elements. So it's nice to hear that. It's nice to hear that. The next question I want to go into is, how do you think the standards and requirements to be a hip hop artist has changed? So like we talked about the origins of hip hop. And when I say hip hop artist, I'm not necessarily just talking about an MC. We're talking about how DJs are seen now compared to what they used to be. What qualifies you to be a good MC compared to what it used to be? What qualifies you to be a good breakdancer? Is even art, as far as tagging graffiti, is that even still a part of it? So what do you think qualifies, and I'm gonna bring this to the crowd, I wanna bring it to the panel first. What do you think qualifies somebody to be a legitimate hip hop artist? And that goes from all four elements, whether it be MCing or whatever.
I think that as far as DJing is concerned, I think the actual art of DJing, I think it's kind of dwindled down for the most part. I think now you pretty much need a computer and a playlist, and everybody says they're a DJ. When, Hank can remember too, like in DJ Six Pack, we used to have all those house parties. Remember back in the day, he used to carry remember him carrying like 5-6 crates of like nothing but like 12-inch vinyl. All of those things were heavy, and I think that, technology in a way is good because it kind of like advances the culture, but I think some of like the little things like, the little things like that are kind of lost in it. And as far as like MCing and being a rapper, I think that now it's a little bit more accessible for everybody. Like, I always, with Hank though, I've known Hank since he was like a little kid, and I remember him in high school. I don't even want to tell this story, but I remember him in high school. Always used to come up to me because at the time, I was rapping for a good 5-6 years, and he'd always come to me and let me hop on the track, let's good, let's do something. And at the time, how I looked at it was that everybody had to there's certain dues that you had to pay, and he's on the panel right now, so we paid some dues though. So, but I think as far as dues you had to pay, lunchroom battling, I remember battling in the lunchroom, whether you win or lose, you still gotta go through it. Or writing every day, I feel like some of those aspects of it have kind of gone away, and now it's more focused on image and trying to sell a product.
For me, I think to include all four aspects of hip hop, I think what it should take at least is originality. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that because hip hop itself, as we said, is derived from different genres of music. Right. You know what I mean? Up to today's date, huge beat makers such as Kanye West, Dr. Dre, Timbaland. A lot of those people, if you really listen to their beats, you can hear other genres in the beats, whether they're sampling songs from 60s and 70s. If you really listen to it, if you know your music, you can hear it in it. So I guess it's kind of hard to say originality, but I guess when it comes to being an MC, I think that's when it's needed the most, because you want to you want to be able to bring something to the culture that's different. Because I feel like that's what that's what draws people to you. And I feel like that's what's getting lost nowadays. I feel like it's more about trends and people are just going with trends. Like hip hop artists are just doing certain things because they know it's trending and they're gonna be able to make money off of it. But I mean, as we can see, that really doesn't last that long because once that trend goes, you're pretty much gone with the trend as well too. So I mean, to really be a hip hop artist, to be an MC, and to really want, if you want longevity and if you want respect, I feel like originality is very important. So.
Going off of what Hank said, I think I mean I agree with him, but after hip hop and rap in general got commercialized, the standards got lower. So I mean now some people will say like, I don't even want to drop names, like horrible rapping, but some of the people out there,
drop a name.
like 2 Chainz, I can't believe people think it's real. Like,
Come on.
I mean, no offense to anybody who likes them, but I don't consider that real hip hop. Cause I mean, if someone really likes him and thinks he's legit hip hop, I have a problem with that. But I mean, because of commercializing hip hop, not only the MCing part, but DJing became different, you know, dancing became different. What people consider hip hop on like, so you think you can dance or whatever shows, it just changed so much that now it's such a huge gray area. Like some people don't think Macklemore is real hip hop because he raps, you know, for gay rights and stuff like that. So there's just such a huge gray area in that, like, to answer that question.
I want to stop there, man. I'm gonna give you that, but I want to explore that real quick a little bit. As far as what, if any one of you guys out there feel strong about this, what do you consider somebody to be qualified to be a real hip hop artist? Does anybody feel anything right now that they want to let out? Because I seen in the crowd there was some, you know, some movement around. Was there something that was sticking out to somebody majorly? Mike? Oh, go ahead.
I think that it's gotten easier to get in. I think it's gotten easier to get into hip hop just because of YouTube and everything like that. So all you really need is, you know, to download a beat off the internet and make a YouTube video and have some quote unquote swag. And that's all the prerequisites that you need. But before, back in the day, in order to get on, you actually had to have some kind of talent. And you actually had to earn your way up to the top. And you had to build a rep. Now you just got to get 1 million YouTube followers, YouTube hits, you know what I'm saying? Put a couple of other videos out, get a couple of thousand hits on those, and then you get $1 million deal. Which, you know, before you actually had to own your craft, you had to develop yourself, you know, you had to go and work hard and eventually get there. Now it's kind of, you know, easy. And as far as DJing, that's just a whole nother story, you know. It's real easy now, and I think a lot of people who call themselves DJ don't really know the fundamentals of DJ. They don't know, you know, beat jungle, they don't know the different types of scratching or anything like that. And all they do is just, you know, plug in the Serato and just hit play and pause, and that's it. So, you know, there's a lot, back in the day, there was a lot of more work that went into honing your craft and perfecting it. Now it's just a touch of a button, a couple of instantaneous clicks, and you're good.
Mike, I saw you take Mike. I saw you. I'm gonna come back, but I'm gonna go back up to the panel and then I'm gonna hit you back.
I really agree with, you know, what everybody's saying. I think that, you know, it's really big on originality right now with all aspects of hip hop. But on the upside to that, I agree with my man. You know, it's very easy to get into the game, the hip hop game right now. But I think that it's a beautiful thing because, you know, a lot of people that never had a chance got a chance. Now, you know, they got a chance to be heard. You know, whether you think they suck or whether you think they're the greatest rapper alive, you know, they got that chance and they got that chance to express themselves. And that's how I've always looked at hip hop, is just expression.